We on, fellas.
This is Real Estate Guru PK TV podcast. This is Josh in Texas, and Ron B. Follow Me is back.
Ron B. Follow Me is back.
Back again.
We had a void last week when our boy was gone, so.
Yeah. Got kicked out I was on suspension for a week. So it's all good. I'm back in action.
Our sponsors was like, hey, he gotta go for a week. That's what happened.
That's all good. I mean, I like to get a little controversial up in here.
Yes, sir.
You know.
So, what episode is this, Mario?
This is 6.
Episode 6.
Yes, 6.
Real Estate Guru, PK, Podcast TV, whatever you want to call us.
Okay, back to what we were talking about. We're talking about people calling us at a certain time when they told us they're going to call us or about business.
So we always have these conversations before the podcast starts to get real in depth.
Yeah.
We get to arguing and not arguing, but just like in good dialogue back and forth. And then we'll say, hold on, stop. This needs to be on the podcast.
Yeah. So this is one of those moments.
And this is one of those moments where we're what were we talking about?
You were talking about that girl that you
okay,
was
so we were talking about the importance of follow-ups versus follow-ups, whether it's a friend or business. And I think there's a little bit of a difference.
There's a difference. Go ahead.
If one of the homies calls and I can't call you back right away, you can't get your feelings hurt because I'm a busy person.
Yeah.
And Mario was telling us how he don't like that.
Yeah,
it don't matter.
I feel like you need to call me back like in a couple of hours. Like, I know what your occupation is. Like, I don't see how you just busy. But if your occupation was like
mogul.
Yeah, like 24/7, like you're constantly in business meetings or you're traveling, you're constantly on planes or on jets, like Josh.
I don't think it matters. I think no matter who you are, your time is important to you.
Yeah,
I think people just get caught up.
Man,
we're in a weird world where people just get caught up with life, and it seems like you don't have enough time to do nothing.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
I get a little heat from Mario when he calls and I answer. He's like, man, why you call me back? I called you yesterday.
I was in the bathroom, man. I was concentrating.
No, but like if it's really like important, I'll text him and be like, "Hey, look, this is about. I'm trying to do something with you. Like, come. Like, I'm trying to do go half. Or,
well, that's business, man. Business.
Come look at a house and tell me what you think.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Not everybody wants to hear what's going on in the Mario household.
But I think those jet flights that he doesn't get those text messages sometimes.
I know, yeah. You be up in the air and
it's just a mode of transportation, fellas. It's
exactly
a way to get from point A to point B.
You're right about that.
Yep.
So how does that work? Like those jet flights, how does that work?
So it looks like the most baller thing in the world, but so there's just like we call it the Uber of the sky.
Okay.
So it's a service that we pay for on a monthly basis, and we get to go basically anywhere we want to go within the state of Texas. Now it's Oklahoma.
Hold up. Oh, you serious about this?
Yeah, right. A jet.
Oh, I thought we was playing around.
Nah, I was dead serious. I was dead serious.
Big baller. So I know what you're talking about now.
So
yeah.
you know when you roll up, like you see the music.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot a music video one day.
Oh, that'll be live.
But like you roll up, your car is right there.
Uh-huh.
And then the thing opens up and you walk down your car and you go. It's the coolest thing in the world. You don't have to go through no TSA. There's no security checks. Like if my plane leaves at 7 a.m., I literally roll up at 6:55 in the morning. 8 o'clock, I roll up at 7:50.
Did you ever imagine that as a teenager?
Never,
that was gonna happen to you,
ever. And the thing was, somebody had to, I don't want this is attainable. Like when I first started business, none of this stuff had crossed my mind, and somebody had tagged me on Facebook actually and said, "Hey, you need this."
Mm-hmm.
So I looked up in my mind, I was like, this is going to be really expensive. We're talking 10 G's a month or something. Mm-hmm. And so I reached out to the company, and they reached back, and they gave me some pricing, and I was like, I can't afford that. And then the salesman, the original salesman that got me signed up, he worked his butt off because he called, he texted, he hounded, but he was hounding in a good way. He never got on my nerves. And one day he says, "What are you doing, Josh?" And he got to know my business. He got to know all about me. He said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "You're probably in the car driving, right?" I said, "How did you know?" He's like, "Hey, pull over and just do something for me." I was like, "All right." So I pulled over or whatever. I don't know what I was doing. And he's like, "Pull out your statements on your credit card and your phone." He's like, "Just real quick, add up how much you're spending on traveling, and then give me a number." It was real close to what I was going to be paying for that service. And I was like, "All right, sign me up."
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
the reason why I did it was because I have a family and I can't stay gone. Like my wife, I have a little 2-year-old, 3-year-old. Back then when I first started, was 2. So he wants to see Daddy home at night. Daddy's always traveling on business, and Daddy's doing that. So now I could be in a whole different city conducting business, but I'm still home at 6 o'clock. Still home because it only takes me 30 minutes to get home, 45 minutes to get home.
That's live.
The
That's
coolest
from Dallas,
thing,
right?
Yeah. So the coolest thing is like if a customer calls me, let's say a customer's in Austin, he's like, "Hey, can you be here at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock?" Yeah, I'll be there. Give me a sec.
Damn, that's nice.
That's real
and
cool.
See, there's a story in there. Follow-ups. The salesman followed up with you. Same thing in real estate. Same thing in life.
Yeah, we're talking about
Flakes.
Yeah.
Leave the flakes alone.
Yeah. So it's the same thing about
Cut them out of your life.
We're talking about the phone. If somebody wants something and somebody wants to you want to do some business with somebody and it means money, man, if they don't call you back when they say they are, you can't put too much stock in them.
Yeah, I was talking about it with my wife on the phone. Like this girl, she was like, she's in Cali, so we had to have like a mutual agreement what time we were gonna speak to each other on the phone because she's trying to do what I'm doing. So she was asking for advice. She was like, "Okay, well I'm gonna call you at 2 o'clock. I think 4 o'clock your standard time," and then. So I'm like doing what I'm doing, right? I think I was at my parents' house, trying to figure out what we're gonna sell, like, cause they're having like a massive garage sale. They're trying to sell everything to go into the next phase of their life. They're about to get another house or whatever.
Okay.
So she called, she texted me. I got the text, but I didn't see it at the time, and then she was like, she texted me, "Call me," and I was like, "Well, I mean, if you would have called me, I would have spoke to you over the phone, and then we had like a quick 30-minute conversation.
Yeah,
it is what it is." And she was like, "Oh, well, I'm over it." And I was like,
"Over what?"
I was like, I don't need to call you. Why do I need to call you?
Is this a relationship?
Like, yeah, like I'm not courting you. I'm not trying to be your boyfriend. I'm married already. Like that phase of my life is done. Like, why do I need to call you? Like, why?
I think sometimes people don't put a lot of stock in stuff that you like. If somebody's like potentially going to help me,
yeah,
I'm all ears. Just like those guys last week that said that when they met their mentor, they hopped in the car with him the next day.
No, they went and picked them up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're like, "Hey, bro, I want to do this, and I'm going to do whatever I got to do to do it." And then they do it. So we got a guest today. We'll let her get situated before we chit chat and talk. So like going back to what those guys were saying last week, they met their mentor and then they hopped in the car the next day and drove him around so they could start learning from him. And it's like that's what you got to do.
And then they was like, "Meet me wherever you're gonna be at. We just want to go there and just watch you.
Exactly.
We just want to be a fly on the wall. We just want to watch you and do your thing."
If you could grab the mic and pull it as close as you can.
All the way close to my face like this.
Yeah, there you go. I hear you now.
She's been on
I
the
hear
mic
you.
before, obviously.
You've been on the podcast before.
Well, not a podcast, but I get it.
Excellent. So, my name is Josh.
Nice to meet you, Josh.
Mario.
I'm Mario. Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Mario.
I'm being unprofessional and chewing on the mic at the same time. But that's because my wife has me on this meal prep crap.
That's awesome.
I got to lose weight.
I
got to.
Man. That's good for you.
And so tell us about yourself.
So my name is Tiffany. I am a full-time commercial real estate agent, one of the very few full-time female commercial real estate agents. So I'm working under my father. We've had our firm for 35 years.
Nice.
And I'm really excited. I know you guys are in real estate in here as well.
Mm-hmm. Real estate and everything that has it, because I'm a real estate investor part-time. I own a company. And so entrepreneurship, real estate,
mindset.
Awesome.
work ethic, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So your dad, it's your dad's company?
Yes.
And it's all commercial, only commercial.
Only commercial,
That's
no
good.
residential.
So you don't do houses at all?
No, you know what? I used to say I didn't want to do it, but now like I've started looking at some of these houses and I'm like, dang, I really wish I would have gotten to residential earlier and maybe I would have a little more background on residential. But to be honest, I love commercial. I love it. I don't know if I could go residential now.
No. I met, I guess I'll say his name. So we're riding this plane, and I got a chance to have a conversation with Weitzman. You know the name?
No.
Weitzman. Weitzman.
Mm-hmm.
So I met him, and he's this huge commercial. You've probably seen the sign. It's a blue
That's
sign.
what I'm like, yeah.
It's a blue sign. It says Weitzman Group.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Mr. Weitzman. Man, and it was an hour plane ride, 45-minute plane ride. He gave me all sorts of game. And this is an old guy. He's in his 70s or 80s. And he gave me all of the commercial real estate. Because we started talking about real estate. I was like, this is what I've done. And he was like, you're doing what I did when I was in my 20s. And, he's an 80-year-old man.
Yeah.
And so he's telling me a little bit about the commercial real estate game. And it floored my mind. Because everything that I thought happened didn't happen. Like, it didn't work that way at all.
Yeah, totally different. But I mean, it's a ton of fun. And I want more people to get involved in it and really start to invest in their own communities and start to build their own spaces. And a lot of people get scared of it because they're like, it's such a big investment and, we can't do it. But I'm like, hey, you think about how much money we spend on purses and cars and shoes and everything else. If we took all of that together and said, all right, we're going to put this into one fund and we're going to put a down payment down on a building and then lease it out, you would be surprised at the type of money that people are making. And this is how generational wealth is created. This is how a lot of your millionaires, most of them, when you look at their investor profile, real estate is absolutely in it, commercial real estate specifically. So
I agree 110%.
So Mario likes to ask, tell me about your
Oh yeah.
oh gosh, I'm scared.
Yes. So
tell me about the come up. That's what he want to say.
Yeah, like so after high school, like okay, what high school you went
it's
to? Do you have college experience?
He want to know more about you as a person.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I asked everybody.
I know
the
you
same
got an
question.
extensive background.
I have an extensive background. So I went to Elsick High School.
Okay, cool.
Right after high school, I said I am not staying in Houston. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow.
I stayed there for 10 years. I went to Clark Atlanta University, where I got a dual degree in international business and marketing. And when I was in school, I was like, I want to do marketing. I want to do international business. I want to travel the world. That's not what happened. That is just not what happened. In high school, I was kind of hung with the cool girls, but I was more of the quiet one, so I didn't really have much of a voice. And when I got into college, I started to explore things a little bit more, get more involved. And after college, maybe 2014, I had been auditioning for the NBA NFL team, Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, that's cool.
Or in the Falcons, I'd done that as well. But I had been auditioning for like 5 years, and I'd make it to finals every year. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm working out, I'm doing all this stuff, got my hair done. Why am I not making it? Well, on the 5th time that I tried, I made it. And I was in shock. I was like, no, I didn't.
Not me.
It's not me. Like, you guys, it's got to be another Tiffany. It was me. And I was really excited because this was something that I had been working for so hard. And I'm like, I'm really an NBA cheerleader. And I mean, prior to that, I had been in the whole acting thing and modeling thing. Atlanta is really big for acting and modeling. So I've done a couple of shows and I've been able to meet a lot of amazing, amazing people along the way. And, the one thing that I am thankful for is all of the no's that I got.
Oh, that's cool.
All of the, no, you can't do it. Or, no, when I was auditioning, I even had family members say, okay, well, when are you going to stop trying out? Like, you're not going to make it. When you
do something real?
Yeah, when you're going to find something that you're really good at, because this is not for you. I mean, I had people who were close to me like, you should probably let it go.
Yeah.
So when it finally happened, all of a sudden it's just like,
What did your parents say?
oh, my mom was ecstatic.
Oh, that's cool.
My mother was so happy. My dad was really happy. He was, everybody was excited for me, but they were very supportive. They've always been supportive
That's
of whatever
pretty cool.
I wanted.
So that was like your dream, or that was just like a goal you had?
It's a goal, right?
Honestly, it was like a goal because when they told me no the first time, I was like, I know I can make this team.
Right.
It was more so like, I got to get it because I know I can. Not because this is lifelong dream, got to do it forever. It's just I know I got to do it because I can.
Good.
Cool.
That's a good life experience too.
Yeah,
that's
it
really
was
Oh,
a ton
yeah.
of fun.
Oh yeah.
Like it took 5 no's to make a yes, pretty much.
Yes, and each time you make it to finals, and I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with the audition process.
I know it's
Zero.
I've known a couple of people that have tried out. I know one person that was a Texan cheerleader.
Okay.
And I had one friend that was trying out for the Texans, and she didn't get it quite as to the end, but it was like they televised it. But it's pretty challenging. So.
Oh, it's brutal. It is the first time I auditioned, they had the guys who train the NBA players come in, and they're like, okay, you're training with us today. And I'm like, oh, no problem. Like, I got this. I work out. They put me on a treadmill, and they unplugged it.
Wow.
And
man.
they said, run on the treadmill. I said, no, you don't understand. It's unplugged.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work. You got to plug it in. They're like, no, you make it go.
So is that resistance?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's brutal. I mean, you have a week of just like intense working out, boot camps, dancing, memorizing things. And in addition to that, they don't care about, how good you are if you have a nasty attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So in addition to all of the pressure and the stress that's going on around you, you still have to remain
Do everything with a
like
smile.
humble and like smile and just be
Yeah.
happy. You got to be sweating and in pain and just like, yeah, that's fine.
That's a good training, I think, for life in general. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
So it's kind of like an army training.
That's like definitely. It's probably rougher than that. 'Cause I've been in the army.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Yeah,
you were
I've been in the military,
okay.
so yeah,
Wow.
I'm definitely.
But you know, it's a test. If you can't do this, you're not going to be able to do the
I
other
know,
stuff.
only the
Did it
the
come
one
in, like-
the 1%ers, right?
Was it hard? Was it a hard job?
No, it was not a hard job. When you're doing what you love, it's never hard. There were days that were more challenging. I still had a full-time job. I worked for Georgia Pacific. So I was up in the morning at 5 a.m. working out because they work you out when you go to practice, but it's up to you to maintain your body. So if you're eating crap and doing everything else, you
Yeah.
got to work it off. So I was up at 5 a.m., work out, get dressed, go to work from, 8 to 4, leave there and go straight to practice and be there from 6 to 9 or 6 to 10. And if it's game days, of course, I'm there till 11 o'clock.
Wow.
So I had very, very long days. But when you love what you do, it's just like, I'm really excited it's game day. And when you're in that environment where there's just people who are excited to be there, and you really never know how you're impacting somebody's life. So you're sitting there and you're smiling at somebody who this might be their last game, or this may have been a gift for them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So it was an amazing experience.
That's pretty cool.
But was it strenuous? Strenuous physically?
No, not really. I mean, I loved it.
Maybe because you're in shape.
Yeah, I loved it. I was like, I miss it, honestly, because I'm like, it kept me on a schedule. It kept me working out, every single day you were working out. And now I can, if I want to, I can wake up and say, no, not today. I'm not going to work out today. But I mean, it was amazing. I loved everything about it.
Have you thought about cheerleading for the Rockets?
I have.
They probably, I don't know. They probably might be a little, biased since you've already been on Atlanta hockey.
I don't really know how that works, honestly.
Yeah.
I've never gotten into that. I know I've had a couple of friends
Yeah.
who've gone from team to team. I don't think they care. As a matter
Oh,
of fact, I
okay.
think it
Yeah.
might be a
Oh, that's
benefit
cool.
Yeah.
because you have some knowledge of it. But the Rockets, I've seen them. They have a very, very small team, and I'm pretty sure the entry to that is probably just as intense. So, I think when I initially auditioned, it was 300 girls who auditioned, and the top girls, I think we dwindled down to 40. And the Rockets, I believe, have under 20 girls on their team. So you can imagine 150, 200 girls auditioning just to get 20. So, and if the vets come back, you really got some competition. So
So how long did you do that for?
I only did it for a year.
Oh, really?
I was one and done. I said, they just put me on a team and said, just let her dance. Just let her do it for a year because she's not going to stop coming. So
Did you watch Basketball Wives?
I
No,
have.
because
I
the
have
reason why I
watched
asked
it.
it because Royce was a cheer. I watched like the first couple of seasons. So,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like she's Dwight Howard's baby mom. So.
Yeah. So the Atlanta Housewives has one of the old Atlanta Hawks cheerleaders on there, and she was probably one of the first girls that really motivated me to get myself together. I mean, she was doing it.
Oh, that's
She went
cool.
from Falcons to Hawks, and now she's doing Atlanta Housewives part-time. So,
That's
you look at those girls and what they have going on and how they keep themselves in shape, and they're never discouraged.
There's a lot of work behind all that.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it's easy when you're watching it, but there's no way it is.
Nah, yeah, I never thought that was an easy task.
There's no way.
I see, you know what? I think all this, kind of just I always talk about confidence. I always talk about confidence. The only reason I do that because I think a lot of people don't do things is because of lack of confidence.
Or fear of rejection.
Fear of rejection and lack of confidence. So I think all this adds up. Once you've done something so big, it's like I'm ready for the next challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I mean, I can agree wholeheartedly. I think, like I said, when they told me no, it was like, what do you mean no? Like,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm in
Yeah.
shape. And what I thought was I was in shape. And it really makes you reevaluate what you have going on. And it says, okay, well, I have to be better. And not because this is my big dream, my lifetime dream, but because I know I can do it. And it does require a lot of confidence. You're walking into a room with all of these beautiful girls and they're talented and everything else. And so you're fighting for your spot.
Exactly.
So, it does take a ton of confidence. And that's something that I think, and this is kind of going to, go left, but
that's cool.
that's something that I think social media is taking away from us as women. It's slowly but surely kind of stripping us of our confidence because we're so busy comparing our actual lives to somebody else's highlight reel.
Exactly.
Yep.
What
That's
about I saw something in here. I looked you up, and it said something that you were thinking about going to be an attorney. Was that last year or?
No. So when I first graduated from college, I said I wanted to go to law school. And it's crazy. I wanted to go to law school because I wanted to be an entertainment attorney because there were not enough Black women in that industry. And so I was like, I want to get into it. I want to do it. And I'll tell you, I was discouraged. My confidence was not nearly as high as it is now. I had someone who came in who was supposed to be a mentor to me.
Yeah.
And it was an older gentleman, and he had managed a couple of big names now, and I won't go into detail, but it started off as a mentorship, and it kind of led into, oh, well, I'm coming into town, for the Final Four, and I want to see you, let's hang out, let's talk, let's chat. And it went like, oh, okay, well, let's go to the strip club, or, and he was like, no, this is where you're going to do your business deals. Like, it's fine. Like, this is where you're going to do your business. And then the last straw for me was, I want to come to my hotel room.
Yeah.
When that happened, it really, really put things into perspective for me. And it really discouraged me from wanting to do it because I'm like, this is not how I want to be viewed. This is not how I want to be treated. You're a mentor. And he would always ask about my personal relationship. Do you have a boyfriend? Are you dating? He was always into my personal business and not really trying to guide me.
So he was a lawyer?
He was an attorney for...
He's a DA?
No.
He's probably a private attorney.
No.
It's for the entertainment, right?
He was entertainment. Yeah. And he's like, you got to be strong and you got to tell these men no. And I'm like, well, what about you?
Yeah.
'Cause
You're like, you
That's
got your
not
paws
tot-
all
yeah.
everywhere.
That's not totally a mentor.
What
It's
about
like a shark?
have you ever thought about like real estate attorney? I was like, if I got it, my first degree was in criminal justice, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I have to go to law school probably next, and not interested. But I'm actually like now interested in real estate, and I said that would be like the coolest thing to do is real estate attorney, but I don't have the gumption to go back to school and do anything more.
So I took the LSAT, and I got accepted to go to a law school, and I said no.
Really?
Okay,
wow.
I
Why'd you say
understand.
no?
That's a lot of writing. That's a lot of time.
It's a lot of work, and the one thing that you really have to sit down and you have to be honest with self. Like, this is a lot of money that I'm going to be investing in me
There you
going
go.
back to school for something I'm really not passionate about.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good, that's true.
I love being able to debate with people, but I am not a lawyer. I don't want to invest my time like that. And kudos to those who are. But I had to think about it from a self perspective. Like, do you want to invest that money into something you really just don't want to do?
That's true.
Okay. What about I know you just got you've been doing commercial real estate for just this year or?
Well,
okay.
so I've been dibbling and dabbling. I was working for CBRE prior to me moving out here. I was full-time remote, 100% remote. So I worked for them, and then I joined my father. But since I've been probably old enough to just be able to do things, my dad has always had me very intimately involved.
Okay.
That's good.
So, so you're pretty confident. Are you going to do any of your own investments in real estate, or do you you going to take over Papa's business? Or
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Can you let me know when there's an opportunity?
Absolutely. I mean, that honestly, we host sessions called Invest in My Own Community, where we are teaching people how to go from nothing to a complete development. And the purpose is to get young people and more specifically minorities, get them more involved in their communities and get them more involved in commercial real estate. And a lot of the reasons, or two of the reasons, is we don't like, we're scared of what it is, and we just don't have the knowledge.
How you feel about the reunification going on in the black community?
I'll tell you, I have mixed emotions, right? Because on one end, if nobody else steps into these communities to redevelop them and rebuild them, they're going to be abandoned forever.
Yep.
Because when you think about us, like, I don't know where you guys stay, but if you live in Midtown or downtown or, I'm thinking Atlanta, Buckhead area, Galleria area, Post Oak, that kind of area, we're moving out of those communities because even we don't want to be there. So if nobody else, if we're not coming in and investing in those communities, then they're going to continue to go down. And we don't want them until somebody else comes in and starts to redevelop. And we're like, no, that used to be, Mr. John's, corner store. Well, why didn't you go in and save it? You don't got to work it. You can purchase it and keep it alive. And so I have mixed feelings about it because you want those neighborhoods to get some of those things and some of the retail. And we have a client now where we're working with, and we're trying to get retailers into the area. The toughest thing is that we don't have the demographics to support the retail that we want in that area. And in order to get those demographics, we've got to mix it up. You've got to allow somebody else from the outside to come in and help your community. Now, that doesn't mean that, take over and everybody get out. It just means that we have to be more actively involved in learning how do we contribute to this. How can we go back? Those of us who have the ability and the financials behind us, how do we go back and keep that from happening? Because otherwise, what other options do you have? We're just going to continue to look at abandoned buildings, which are housing all kind of, drug use and prostitution rings and everything else. So you want those communities to get better, but we don't want outside people coming in and redeveloping them. So I think we have to have some kind of balance there.
What side of town are you from?
I'm from Southwest.
So, like, West Belford and...
Like A-Leaf.
Oh, A-Leaf, okay.
But those are conversations that nobody's having, which is good to hear. Like, I totally agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I think we're scared of those conversations.
People are. People don't understand that, like you were saying earlier, we got off subject, but about how they may look at a commercial development and say, well, I can't do that. I don't have enough money for that. But collectively, any group does almost. Just like I constantly tell my closest friends are all in a group chat, and like we joke about sports and all sorts of stuff all day long, and I'm the guy that's always says putting my hand up saying, hey, why don't we just buy this collectively? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And I think, obviously I'm a minority as well. I think that there's a lot of selfishness tied up mentally with everybody. It's me. I've got to improve my lot in life. And when you look at other communities, it's not like that. In every, like, there's, not that I'm not pro this, but like even some of the Oriental people that come in here, they live together for a couple years until they pay off a house. They'll buy another one. They'll all migrate to that house, pay it off, and then before you know it, they have 6-7 houses that are paid for. And then they just keep multiplying that, and until where you look up.
That's how they do it.
I'm
like, that's a good idea.
That's very, very real. And and one of my favorite examples is, my father was involved in one of these. It was a transaction where a guy comes in and him and his family buy a lot of land. Right, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's a couple acres. They buy it for $300,000. Maybe 3-4 years later, a big box store comes in and says, I want just this little part right here in the middle. It's an anchor store.
$1 million. No.
$10 million.
$10 million.
$10 million. And that was one parcel of land.
What was it, the year of this?
This was...
And what was the area?
That's crazy.
So I can't.
Where's the area?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it was at.
The point is right. What's his name?
Yeah, exactly.
The point is that him and his family were able to create a lifetime of wealth. You think about, some people never see $1 million in their lifetime. $10 million for one parcel, and because it was an anchor store, what happens when an anchor store moves in? Everybody else starts moving in. So they eventually sold it off and let somebody else continue to make money off of it, and that is really how it's done. It's you've got to be able to come together. Yes, I'm going to have to split this with you 4 ways, but the next one I may only have to do 2, and the one after that, it'll be my own.
That's right.
So you can't be so selfish in your initial thinking. You're like, all right, well, how do I build my portfolio?
Yep, that's true.
What about residential real estate? Do you do any of that, or it's just mostly just commercial
So I'm
Well-
full-time commercial.
Well, I'm talking about like multifamily. That's what I'm talking about.
multifamily. So
Yeah.
yes, we have been.
Duplexes, like duplexes.
No,
Well, it would have to be
multi.
yeah.
Complexes.
Yeah.
Greater than
Okay.
5,
Yeah.
right?
It would have to be more than yes.
Okay,
Correct.
that's cool.
So those we have had a lot of people interested in them, but the thing about that is when you're buying a multifamily unit, I think it's important that you understand what you're getting into. There are a lot of people who are like, "Oh, this is cheap, let me buy it," and they buy it and don't recognize all of the repairs that are going on. Then you have to worry about getting it leased back up, getting people to stay in there again, and you got to look at the demographics around you. What are you going to be able to charge in rent in order to make what you need to make on the back end?
True.
So
I mean, there's a lot of companies that strategically actually buy those and fix them up. They call them value plays because you have an engineer that has an apartment complex that for some reason he decided that he wanted to put dirt in the swimming pool because he didn't want to deal with the swimming pool
Too
issues.
much.
Yeah, and so the guy basically didn't know how to run it, and so you steal it from under him. Not steal it, but you see that he's not running it right. He's not making any profit. It has 50% occupancy, and you say there's an opportunity because you're looking at all the apartments around you, and that's when they do something called a value play.
it's important for when you're looking into real estate. I think the people who have the most success, they go in and they look at the value and they look at the opportunities that are there.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, oh, this is the worst property ever. It looks awful, And that I used to be very closed-minded to that, like, if it looks bad, if it's not like a Class A building or Class B building, I don't want to see it.
They do Class A, B, C, and commercial. Okay.
They do, and so I used to think about that. But when you're thinking about investing,
Yeah.
some of your opportunities are going to come from those buildings that are not as desirable. So you're going to have to say, all right, well, where is the opportunity in this?
Yeah.
When Hurricane Harvey hit, if you had one of those C-class buildings that maybe wasn't occupied all the way, that was the time for you to say, hey, come this way. It's not been flooded. Come on over, because these people are signing year leases.
Yep.
To me, it's like it's all the same.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking for a place to stay.
To me, it's all the same. It's like you find something that is ugly, and then you buy it cheap, and then you fix it up, make it look pretty, and then you move people in. People want it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you do it. With residential real estate, commercial real estate. Because I'll go into a building. I went to one of these commercial buildings, and I was like, man, this guy hasn't worked on the tile. Obviously, this guy's a slumlord or something like that. He's like, I'm trying to squeeze every nickel. I was like, if you fix everything up, you'll be able to charge more rents. Then not only that, you might be able to refinance it, pull more money out of it. But they're not thinking like that. They're thinking about, I'm just going to be a slumlord.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at redoing properties again, you really have to figure out, and that's teamwork. And I heard this somewhere the other day. If you want to travel fast, travel alone. If you want to travel far, travel in a group. It's all about getting a team that can come in. So when you see a property, you're able to call person A and say, hey, I need you to come over here and give me an appraisal of what you think this is worth. Person B, I need you to come in here and tell me how much it's going to cost to fix this, that, and the third.
Yep.
Person C, what is it going to take for me to get financing? You got to have your team in place, and you got to be able to go in and say, okay, is it worth me getting into? Can I do it right now?
Yeah.
Because it might be a great deal, but maybe it's not the deal for you. Maybe financially, this is not where I need to be. I need to be a little bit lower than that, But it's all about making sure the value is going to be there before you jump into a project, because everybody's with fix and flip now, and I'm like, but that doesn't mean patchwork.
Yeah.
You gotta have.
means-
I say with that, you gotta have like large margins.
Yeah.
Large margins. So if you make a mistake, like I said to Mario, if you have a foundation problem, and Mario's like, "Well, I got a foundation guy." I was trying to give an example, but yeah, if you have a major problem that you can that it's still in budget.
Yeah.
So what are the daily functions of somebody in commercial real estate?
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Honestly, I could be out in the city of Magnolia driving, looking for property, looking for lots and lots of land. And, I don't know if you guys have been out to Magnolia, but it's not like 1 acre. It's like 300 acres and 29. So I could be out there doing field work out there, or I can be in a boardroom with, C-level executives pitching a property to them, or I can be in the office pulling reports, or, at meetings, at networking events. So my day varies every day.
So, the knowledge you obtained, how did you, you learned it all from your father, or you went to, a realtor school, or you just went, head first and just started, knocking stuff out?
Did you have to get, realtor's license and all that?
So I am licensed.
Commercial.
Yeah.
You
Well,
do. I don't know. Or
it's
is
the
it?
Yeah, you
same
do.
license.
It's the
Yeah.
same license.
Yeah, you
Okay.
just
All
pick
right.
it.
Yep.
So I am licensed. I did go to school, but I do learn a lot of the stuff in the office. Like everything they taught me in school, honestly, I've probably used this much of it.
Yeah.
Everything else I'm learning, every day, and reading, a lot of reading, always looking up articles, what's going on in the city, what's moving, what are the trends. That's really, really big, and there's a lot of amazing guys out here who can tell you what the trends are, guys and gals, who can tell you, real estate trends, what's going on, and some stuff that I would never think about before that I think about now, like when Macy's closed. Macy's closes, normally you'd be like, oh, that's sad. But for us, we're like, no, Macy's is closing. That's an opportunity for us to go in and sell their properties.
Oh,
We
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they got to what are they going to do with them?
yeah. And actually Macy's was one of our clients. So,
Cool.
you think about stuff like that, and when Toys R Us closed, the first thing I was like, Toys R Us is closing. Like,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
That's sad. That's sad.
Well, and not even that it's sad, but sometimes it's not about selling off. Sometimes it's about downsizing. And the biggest thing is if you can help a company like Toys R Us come in and say, hey, maybe we don't sell everything. Maybe we downsize. And with the remaining space, we can repurpose it.
Yep.
We can do something else with the remaining space. We can make like a party center or some kind of activity center for kids on the weekends or, whatever. Maybe you kind of look at your model and see how can we keep Toys R Us alive,
Yep.
but, not have all of this vacant space that we really can't afford. So, it's about having, we're not just buying and leasing and selling property. We're also being consultants to people who want to keep their businesses around.
Are you a broker? And if you're not, like, do you plan on getting your broker's license?
I am not a broker. My father is a broker,
That's also your
but
dad probably
yes,
is.
absolutely. Like I do intend on. I mean, I am hoping that I can be just half of what he is.
Okay.
I really am.
That's good.
How long has he
Yeah.
been in the game?
He's been doing this for over 35 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
So he's got a lot of connections. He knows everybody. He knows all the movers and shakers.
He's been definitely networking in the city of Houston. He does a lot of that. And just, again, always on the hunt for knowledge. And he doesn't just get knowledge from here. He goes to different organizations that are in the city and outside of the city. So he's definitely, been making a name for himself and building generational wealth for us.
That's good.
Does
That's good
he
to
own?
hear.
Does he own like a lot of commercial properties, houses, and?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, no.
Oh wow.
No. So we buy, sell, and lease. We help with the acquisition, the disposition of properties, but we don't own a ton of properties. Now, do we own a couple? Yes. But the biggest thing, again, is just kind of like, where do you want to spend your time as a commercial broker and an agent? Do you want to spend your time managing properties, or do you want, or in developing? Now, these properties and projects take very, very long to do and complete, and you have to be on them, especially when you're project managing. So do you want to do you want to do property management and development, or do you want to do the buy, sell, and lease portion of it? So he's elected to do buy, sell, and lease on that.
That's good. You can't do everything.
Yeah.
And so he's probably good at that.
Well, I've been begging. I'm like, can we just please own like I want an entertainment district. That's my big dream, is to have an entertainment district in the heart of a underserved, underdeveloped community and make it a destination. And that way it can feed into the community, provide jobs for those people. And, it helps to, when people see a big establishment like that, all of a sudden, other retailers and other people want to be around it.
In, yeah.
So one of my biggest dreams was like, I want to own that. And my dad is like, well, who's going to manage the project? Like, who's going to make sure that this person is showing up on the right day and that environmental surveys are done? And because, I want this big water fountain because I'm so extra. But
It'll happen.
yeah, I'm like, that's my dream. And I keep pushing that on him. And he's like, he's all for investing in projects. But he's like, make sure that if that's what you want to do, that you're being realistic about how you're going to be able to spend your time.
So like your vision is like I don't know. Have you been a studio movie girl like by Memorial?
Yes.
So is that like your vision, like something like that, or
Town and
bigger?
country.
Town and country.
That's the first thing that popped up. That's a little bitty area, but it's a lot of family fun and new.
It's more of a town and country kind of concept. Or if you've ever been to Atlanta, the Atlantic Station. But again, it would be a situation where there is a activity center, something like a main event or a movie or a studio movie grill or something like that, where families can go. But on the outskirts, you still have dinner places, eateries, maybe a lounge here or there, very, nice, fun activities. One thing that someone told me when we were talking about retailers losing their space, they said the one thing you cannot buy online, because that's why big box stores are going out of business, is because we're buying online.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing you cannot buy online is an experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can't buy that.
No.
You know, why do we go out to the movies? Because we want to experience. I could wait for it to come out on Fire Stick, but you know, you want the experience. You want to get out. You want to go. So,
what's the big, like, I hear about people doing like residential versus commercial real estate. What's the pros and cons? Have you like, I mean, the big thing that I've heard about the pros and cons with commercial is that usually if there's a market crash, commercial will crash before residential, and then it will return later. Is that true, or is that, am I off, or I don't know? I'm not like,
I'm going to have to deem that as a myth.
A myth?
I'm going to have to deem that as a myth, because you think about it this way. Commercial, you're buying, selling, and leasing all commercial space. And commercial encompasses office space, retail, land, the whole shebang. So when the market crashes and people have to move out of their offices, who's helping them relocate?
They got to go somewhere.
They've got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
When the buildings are saying, hey, you know what, we've got to close our doors, we've got to get out, there's always, when there's things that are going on, there's always people waiting with like a pocket full of money, like, I'm just waiting for this property to go down so I can buy it. So when they move out, somebody's got to sell that for them. Somebody, and again, when you take Macy's.
So there's always, in commercial, there's always, with commercial buying and selling and leasing, there's always opportunity with change. If everybody signs 30-year leases and nobody's moving, then there's no opportunity there. So when things happen, this closes or this gets built or this community is growing, change causes commercial real estate agents to be busy.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, I'm thinking this something from my, like, would I want to buy residential because everybody needs a house, or would I do commercial because
everybody needs it cleaners too. And that cleaners has to be in a building.
I don't know.
I mean, I think
it's,
there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
There's absolutely pros and cons to both, because, you know, before there was this big craze about, you know, buying houses, we got to be we got to be homeowners and everything else.
Yeah.
But now you see all of these beautiful, you know,
millennial
multi-family.
I call them millennial houses.
Yeah, I mean, and
apartments.
everybody's like, hey, I want to go lease. I was spending $1,400 in a lease. You know, like, just so that I could be in an area, just so I could be around people that kind of stuff. So when you think about it, there's pros and cons to both. People always have to live somewhere, but in the other instance, like, people still have to work too. What are you working out of? You're working out of buildings, offices. You know, when you're thinking about developing gas stations, you got to have land to develop that on. So there's always opportunity, I think, in real estate, just in general across the board.
Yep, true story. She's got a lot of good info.
Yeah, I know. Any other projects you're working on? I know you said something that your father and y'all are trying to educate.
Tell us about that. When does it happen?
So IMOC is a program. It actually just ended. The last one
was it called?
It's IMOC.
Okay.
IMOC. That's Invest in My Own Community.
Nice.
And we have it once a month, every third Saturday from February to June. And it is literally 3 hours of just jam-packed information, all on commercial real estate. We bring in developers, architects, engineers, environmental specialists, the whole shebang. And they come in and they tell you how to develop your project, how to finance it. We have accounting people come in. You know, you would be shocked at how much information you get in just 3 hours. I mean, it's honestly not enough time, but that's the program that we host for his firm. So that's what we do. And as far as personal, I'm working on putting together something for women to get more involved in being CEOs and executives and entrepreneurs, where they can capitalize on being beautiful and also being respected, because it's a
give and take.
It's an industry. Well, it's not an industry, but it's a situation where a lot of women feel like I can only be pretty, or I have to be business. And you got to be able to switch into two. And being in the industry that I'm in, I'm like, no, I want to be really cute, and I want to be, you know, I want to still feel sexy when I walk out the house. But then on the other end, I want to be respected.
There's a tightrope there. Like, there's a fine line there. Like, she's hit it right on the head. Like, if, as a man, right, if I'm dealing business with a woman, there's this fine line between how they're dressed and how I perceive them. And it's a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. But, if they come in a certain way and it's like, I don't know, like you automatically like second guess their character by how they're dressed. And you could be way off, but, a lot of times you could be way right. So, but she's right though. I mean, there's a certain way to dress where you can command respect at the same time, but not look like you're, gonna go and do something else.
Yeah.
Have you been in a lot of situations where like men didn't take you serious?
Not necessarily where men didn't take me serious. I've been in more situations where I've been intimidated because I'm in a room full of executives and I'm so
Youngest,
young and
yeah.
You walk in and you don't see any faces that look like you,
I've
that
been in a
kind of
situation,
thing. And
yeah.
so that's been a situation that's kind of driven me to be like, hey, you can be both beautiful and you can be a beast. You can walk in and people can say, yo, she is gorgeous, but she is about her business. She knows her stuff.
You're pretty well spoken. So you're a good communicator.
Well, thank you.
I don't think that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? As far as that's why I said the battles that you've been in, I think help build you up to like. I was like, well, normally people would be scared to be in front of people, but you've been in front of thousands of people, so it's just like, oh, this is just the day.
It's different though. Like when she
Yeah.
was saying, being in a boardroom full of execs. Like I've been in a situation and I come in and like I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
I'm a little shade darker than everybody, and it's like it was a law firm that dealt with commercial real estate property, and they wanting to talk to me about our services, and it's like, all of a sudden it's like this room full of 30 people. It's like